So what's happening, people? It's me again, Courtney, doing my MMA predictions. This time it's for UFC 135. That's so rubbish, wasn't it? Which will take place on Saturday the 24th of September at the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. Been looking forward to the main event for a while. Ever since it was announced, I thought, yeah, that's a really good main event. And the rest of the card looks okay as well. There's probably a few fights I think they could have switched around from the main card to the prelim card, but hey, I'm not Joe Silva. But anyway, I'll give my predictions from I'll start at the bottom of the main card, which I think is going to be the main card anyway, which is, I think, Ben Rothwell versus Mark Hunt. Ben Rothwell, former IFL champ, he's got a 31-7 record. He's a big guy, 6'4", I think he is. He's got a good chin, he's got decent grappling and submission game. His last fight was a win against Gilbert Ivel. In his last 5 fights, he had 3 wins and 2 losses. He's only had 2 fights in the last 2 years. I think he was injured after his last fight against Ivel. He's a decent fighter. But he's fighting one of my favourite K1 fighters, Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's a former K1 champ. He's got a 6-7 record in MMA. He's got very good hands. He's got decent kicks as well. I think he's got adamantium welded in his skull because that guy can take a shot and a half. If you see some of the shots he's taken, man, I mean, the fight against Ray Seafro in K1, they both had their hands down. They were talking to each other, talking shit to each other, and hitting each other square in the jaw, and they're taking the bottom. He's just taking the shots, bam, bam, bam. If you've got to see that fight, have a look on YouTube, Vimeo, Daily Motion, see if you can find that fight. It's a really good fight. Mark Hunt's been training at ATT, American Top Team for all those that don't know, and he's been losing the weight. But yeah, I like Mark Hunt a lot. His last fight was a win against Christian Trishner, something like that, by KO. In his last 5 fights, he's had 1 win and 4 losses. Ben Rothwell's got the advantage in the submission game, which plays big against Mark Hunt because he's not that great on the ground, but he's been training with AT&T. AT&T? It's a network in the USA. But ATT. So Ben Rothwell's got a massive advantage on the ground, not so much on the feet, but Ben Rothwell's a very big guy and I think he will take him down, try and take him down anyway. But saying all that, I'm not picking him to win, I'm picking Mark Hunt to because I like Mark Hunt. I want him to win. I think he can do it as well because, Ben Rothwell's a big guy, that's a big target, that's a big chin. I think Hunt will connect and knock him out. But I'm picking Mark Hunt to win that fight. Next on the card is Nate Diaz versus Takanori Gomi. Nate Diaz, as you know, brother of Nick Diaz. Nate Diaz is a good fighter in his own right. He's 6 foot. He's got a 13-7 record. Wicked boxing. He's got the same sort of style of boxing as Nick Diaz, so it's a quick, hands up in the air and just throw loads of shots that all hit you. Everything will hit you. But I don't think he's as good as Nick Diaz in that sense. His submission game is wicked for MMA. He's got good cardio as well, and he's very, very hard to finish. Hasn't been finished in a while. His last fight was he lost against Rory McDonald, but that was at welterweight. His last 5 fights, he had 3 wins and 2 losses. No, 2 wins and 3 losses. 2 out of the 3 losses came at welterweight, and the other loss was against Gray Maynard, and that was at lightweight. So that's no bad thing. He lost to the number 2 in the UFC. But he's fighting Takanori Gomi, the fireball kid, former Pride lightweight champion. Takanori Gomi, he's got wicked hands, got good wrestling, has submissions as well. But he's susceptible to submissions as well. That's where most of his losses have come. Never been KO'd or TKO'd. His last fight was a loss against Clay Guida. That was by submission. His last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. 2 losses, submissions. I have odds on these based on UFC fights, courtesy of John Pettit at MMArecap.com and UFCbetting.com. Nate Diaz, I'm not a betting guy. Well, I am a betting guy, but I don't know anything about odds or anything. I'm rubbish like that. But Nate Diaz, minus 280. Takanori Gomi, plus 210. Nate Diaz is the favourite. I think Nate Diaz will keep him out of range, and just pop shots at him. If he does go to the ground, I think he will submit Gomi. I think his jiu-jitsu and his grappling is way too good for not his grappling, his jiu-jitsu is too good for Gomi. Gomi could probably knock him out, but he's going to be looking for that one big bomb all night. If Melvin Gillard couldn't do it, I don't think Gomi's going to do it. So I'm picking Nate Diaz to win via submission. Next on the card is Travis Brown versus Rob Broughton. Travis Brown, 6'7", Hapa. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to have a look on Google for that. He's got 11-0-1 record, decent hands. He finished most of his fights. He's undefeated. Has jiu-jitsu as well. Has grappling, submissions. His last fight was against Stefan Struve, where he won by pow, Superman punch. And his last 5 fights had 4 wins and 1 draw. And the 1 draw came against Rob Broughton's teammate, chokewho. Rob Broughton, decent guy from the UK, very good heavyweight. He's got 15-5-1 record. He's 6'2". Got very good jiu-jitsu and submissions. Decent hands. He's got a good chin. He's another one with adamantium partly welded into his skull. I've seen him take a few shots as well. His last fight was a win against Dekiros. That was via submission. In his last 5 fights, he's had 5 wins. He's had no losses, so he's undefeated in his last 5 fights. Odds on this one, courtesy of John Petit at MMArecap.com and UFCbetting.com. Travis Brown, -375. Rob Broughton, +300. But I like Rob Broughton for this fight. Not many people can see what he can do. I think he's had 2 fights in the UFC. But I think he's an unknown quantity at the heavyweight division. I think he can win. Brown has not impressed me since he's been in the UFC. Really, his last fight was okay, but he's not really impressed me. I thought he was going to batter chokewho, but that didn't really happen. chokewho lost that fight himself for grabbing the shorts. Travis Brown looked very tired towards the middle of the 2nd round. I think Rob Broughton can win this, probably via submission. So I'm picking Rob Broughton, and that's a good bet. I would bet on Rob Broughton. That's some good money right there. Anyway, moving on to the next fight, which is Matt Hughes versus Josh Koscheck. Matt Hughes, former welterweight champion. Everyone knows about Matt Hughes. One of the best at the time. Hall of Famer. He's got a 45-8 record. He's got wicked wrestling, good takedowns, submission games evolving. With Jeremy Horn and Pat Miletich, I think his submissions are getting better and better. I mean, who would have seen that choke coming on Ricardo Almeida like that in the last fight? Or the last fight before? I didn't see that coming. He's got a good, decent chin as well. But BJ, smacked that off. His last fight was a KO loss to BJ Penn. His last 5 fights, he had 3 wins and 2 losses. But he's fighting an Afro kid, blonde Afro samurai, Josh Koscheck. He's 5'10". He's got a 15-5 record. This guy's from the Ultimate Fighter 1. At first I didn't like him, a boring fighter, but I've seen him, watched him evolve as a fighter, MMA fighter, and he's getting good, man. He's getting good. I thought he would have done more against GSP, to be honest. He's got wicked takedowns. He will take you from one side of the octagon and put you on the outside of the other side of the octagon. He's got some crazy takedowns, man. He just runs straight through you. He's got KO power. He's looking for that ball knockout all the time, that big sledgehammer right hand. Very fast and very agile. His last fight was a loss against GSP. GSP smashed his orbital bone, and it looks something like this. Just imagine me with a blonde afro. Talking shit, man. Josh Koscheck for you. Smashed his orbital bone, so he's just coming back from that injury. In his last 5 fights, he's had 3 wins and 2 losses. The odds for this one, Matt Hughes is at +400, Josh Koscheck -600. I'm going to go with Josh Koscheck. Even though Matt Hughes has been training with BJ Penn and sitting on bikes with BJ Penn. It's all love. They're on the bike together. Brum brum. Love. I think Matt Hughes, obviously, he's getting a bit older. I don't know if he'd be able to handle the pace that Josh Koscheck's going to put on him. You never know, if Matt Hughes gets his hands on him, he may choke him out. He may choke him like he did to Ricardo Almeida. But my instinct's telling me, and the facts are telling me, that Josh Koscheck's going to win. You know, boxing wise, standing on the feet, he's going to beat him, and probably on the ground. If he puts him on his back, he's going to keep Matt Hughes there for a while, I think. But you never know. Matt Hughes might turn it around, do what I've just said to Koscheck. But, you know, if Matt Hughes won, it would be so bad. He'd mix things up. Because, you know, obviously, Koscheck wins. He's probably 2 or 3 fights away. Probably 2 fights away from a title shot again. But what happens if Matt Hughes wins? What happens then? BJ Penn's already beat Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes wins this fight. And what happens if BJ Penn beats Nick Diaz? Everything just goes to pot, you know. So that's what I like. But I'm picking Josh Koscheck to win. Probably via decision. If he knocks out Matt Hughes, I wouldn't be surprised either. Next fight, which is the main event, Johnny Bones Jones versus Quinton Rampage Jackson. Johnny Bones Jones, the current UFC light heavyweight champion, one of the most gifted fighters, talented fighters ever in the UFC. I hate when I say that shit, man. He's good, really good. That's it, man. Come on now. Talent, what about BJ Penn? Come on, man. Jones is on a 4-fight win streak at the minute. Very unorthodox strikes. He's got his boxing, which is decent. He's got his elbows, spinning elbows, and his throws and stuff like that. He's really good. He's the guy to come through from that you'd see. So, you know, something like Jim Kelly, the character Jim Kelly plays in Enter the Dragon. To me, that's John Jones. That's Jim Kelly 2012 is John Jones. Him doing his crazy stuff, flying around and doing all this and that. Mad. But it's wicked to watch, you know what I mean? He's one of the guys, he's the one guy you've probably seen in the film and think, I want to be him. I want to be like that dude there. He's John Jones. But yeah, he's got wicked wrestling as well. His takedowns are good. His submission game is okay. We've seen 2 submissions. One submission that he did against Ryan Bader. He's got one long ass reach. I'm sure it's about 3 foot, really long. And he's a finisher. He finishes his fights. His last fight was when against Mauricio Shogun Rua, which I know Bloodstained Lane was crying about. But yeah, because Rua, pride forever. But yeah, he battered Shogun. But Shogun was coming off an injury, man. Come on. That rematch is due to happen. I don't know. But yeah, his last 5 fights had 4 wins and 1 loss. The 1 loss was against Matt Hamill, DQ loss. He lost. Yes, he did. You can't wipe it off the record no matter what. You can't go back to the State Athletic Commission and say wipe it off. No, you can't. He lost. But yeah. But he's fighting Quinton Rampage Jackson, the former light heavyweight champion. He's got a 32-8 record. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Rampage, Slampage, wicked hands, very heavy hands, good boxing. Since coming over from Pride, he's been a bit more static and a bit more wooden. In Pride, he was a bit more flowing with his technique. Now he just boxes now. He doesn't really kick at all. I know Rampage can kick. I've seen kick pads, but he don't kick. Good slams, very heavy hands. That left hook's killer. Can knock out an elephant with that. His last fight was when against Matt Hamill via decision. That fight he did look good. He could have finished him, but he didn't. But you know, he said he's focused in his fight. He's been at the Muscle Farm training facility in Denver. He looks good. He was more motivated this time. His last 5 fights had 4 wins and 1 loss. The 1 loss was via decision against Rashad Evans. The odds for this fight, courtesy of John Pettit at MMArecap.com and UFCbetting.com. You can follow him on Twitter, Scream13. John Jones is obviously the favourite, minus 500. Rampage, plus 420. Interesting fact, Rampage has not been finished in nearly 3 years. Last person to finish him obviously was Vanderlei Silva, giving a beating of his life. So it's going to be interesting to see if John Jones can finish him. Rampage he's not got adamantium in his head. He's got like he's got something else in his head, different. But yeah, it's gonna be more black on black crime, as you say. But you know, I don't know who's gonna win this fight. I'm gonna say, obviously the favourite, John Jones. Yeah. No, I'm gonna pick Rampage. But I like Rampage a lot. I think he can actually do it. The way I don't usually watch interviews before fights and anything like that, but I think he can. He seems really motivated. I hope just the motivation stays with him into the cage throughout the whole 25 minutes of the fight, if it goes that long. But I really hope he does. But I'm picking Rampage to win that fight, and you probably get some good money if you bet on that as well. But anyway, those are my picks. Those are my predictions. Check me out on Twitter with the same username, chokewho. Check out these websites, lapelchoke.com, tweetmma.co.uk, mmapundit.co.uk. Check out those websites. Follow me on Twitter. Interact, baby. Interact. You'll get a follow. All these people that don't interact, come on, man. You've got to interact. You've got to talk. Find me on Google Plus. I'm on that Tumblr thing as well. Planning to do a Ustream thing at some point. I don't know. Also, James Begley on Google Plus is planning some MMA hangouts. I'm not sure. If you get onto Google Plus, there's basically a facility where everyone can. I think it's up to 10 people can video conference and just hang out. And I think he's planning one. So get on Google Plus. Look for James Begley. He's hooking it up. Also, I train at leicestermma.co.uk. If you're in the UK, get down there. Congrats to Leon Corrigan on winning the Fight UK Amateur Championship belt at lightweight. Congrats to JD Hilton, Jamie Daywalker Molyneux. Who else fought? Nyan, keep your head up, mate. And who else fought? Someone else fought. Big XXL Chris. Congrats to all you guys. But anyway, yeah. Peace, I'm gone. I'll do some review after the fight or something. But anyway, peace.